Hello everyone, and welcome to today's story. What will happen when the very person who once opposed James and Diep's love now comes forward to apologize? Is it a true acceptance from the heart, or merely a fleeting promise meant to soothe the moment? Stay with us until the end to find out. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help our channel reach 1,000 followers. Your support gives us the strength to bring you even more heartfelt stories. At dawn's first light, with mist still clinging to tender leaves, Diep carried a bamboo basket on her back and quietly stepped into the endless rows of melons. Each fruit, plump and glistening, sparkled like strings of tiny pearls beneath the soft glow of morning. She bent down, her slender hands gently turning each melon, careful as though afraid to harm its fragile life. The faint thud of fruit settling into the basket blended with the calls of birds above, weaving a tender symphony of the early day. After the market, Diep returned quietly to the farm. The small yard bustled with the sounds of chickens and ducks, while rows of green vegetables swayed gently in the afternoon breeze. For her, tending to them was more than work. It was a simple joy that nourished her soul each day. Sitting beneath the bamboo eaves, her hands swiftly plucked tender cassava leaves, their soft rustle merging with the whisper of wind slipping through the foliage. The slanting rays of sunset gilded her neatly tied hair, casting golden light across her gentle face as it bent over the basket of greens. Every motion was patient, steady, as if each leaf she gathered was also a fragment of hope, quietly stitched together for tomorrow. In the stillness, Diep's heart stirred. The image of James suddenly filled her mind. The man who had entered her life like a warm flame, bringing the breath of protection, awakening unexpected beats within a heart once closed. The sudden sound of a motorbike echoed from the bamboo gate, breaking through Diep's wandering thoughts. She looked up, startled, to see James approaching. His simple shirt was dusted from the road, his face still marked by the fatigue of a long day's work. But his eyes lit up the moment they found her familiar figure. "You've been working again, forgetting to rest," James said softly, his voice a blend of gentle reproach and quiet concern. Diep smiled faintly, her cheeks flushing with a shy warmth, caught between embarrassment and delight. She set the bundle of leaves aside, her eyes brightening with joy, though still veiled by a trace of reserved modesty. Without hesitation, James sat down beside her, reaching for the basket of leaves. Clumsily, he tried to mimic her movements. His rough fingers fumbled awkwardly, sending leaves tumbling to the ground. The sight was both amusing and endearingly tender. Diep burst into laughter, rare and unguarded, her smile like sunlight dissolving into the breeze, sweeping away the day's weariness. Under the bamboo eaves, the soft rustle of cassava leaves mingled with the lingering glow of the sunset on the thatched roof. Side by side, they shared the silence and warmth. In that simple moment, all the burdens of the world seemed to fade away, leaving only a fragile peace. So complete, it ached with its quiet beauty. The phone in James's pocket suddenly vibrated, shattering the sweet stillness on the porch. He looked at the screen, hesitated briefly, then lifted it to his ear. His father's voice came through, deep and warm, slow, mingling with the evening breeze on the other end of the line. "I want to meet the two of you. Before I go away, I wish to share a meal together. Would that be all right, son?" James slowly turned to Diep. In her eyes shone surprise, her lashes trembling as if she could not yet believe those words. A flicker of confusion passed, but then a gentle smile gradually appeared on her lips. A small nod. just enough to set James's heart at ease. Soon after, the sound of a car engine rose from the dirt road beyond the bamboo gate. When the gate opened, a familiar figure appeared. James's father stepped inside, his posture still dignified, though the sternness of years past seemed to have softened. In his hands were heavy bags, simple things he had prepared for Diep. His gaze came to rest on the young girl standing beneath the porch. This time, there was no distance, only a rare tenderness filling his eyes. Diep stood still, feeling her heartbeat slow, overcome by both surprise and emotion. In that moment, the humble courtyard seemed to fall silent. Only the rustle of cassava leaves in the wind and the clucking of chickens returning to the coop bore witness to a new milestone. A meeting not to judge right or wrong, but for three people to find understanding, forgiveness, and a newly forged bond. In the small bamboo-thatched kitchen, the fire crackled, its smoke curling upward and mingling with shafts of sunlight streaming through the slits in the wall. Diep sat by the hearth, her hair damp with sweat, her skillful hands turning the meat in the pan. The fragrance of fish sauce, of garlic and onions fried to golden perfection, filled the air, wrapping the space like a warm invitation. Beside her, James clumsily picked vegetables, now and then fumbling as he added more firewood to keep the flame steady. Each time she saw him so intent on his task, Diep couldn't help but laugh, a smile both playful and brimming with gratitude. In James's eyes, too, lingered a quiet emotion, deep respect for the simple, diligent girl before him. Outside, James's father sat beneath the trellis, sipping tea, occasionally glancing toward the kitchen. His gaze softened, and in his eyes flickered a smile he could not quite conceal. He remembered the days before, when he had fiercely opposed this relationship on ship, believing the girl unworthy of his son simply because of her humble origins and limited education. He had thought that as a father, he needed to set strict standards to protect his child. But now, after all the times Diep had saved him, after witnessing her gentleness, her quiet devotion to every small task, and the rare serenity in James's eyes whenever he was with her, he suddenly understood. Happiness could be far simpler than the lofty ideals he had once pursued. A faint sigh escaped his lips as he looked up at the young couple before him. In his heart, a silent confession arose. Perhaps I was the one who was wrong. Wrong for letting prejudice blind me. Wrong for allowing pride to wound their hearts. It is time to say sorry, so that my spirit may find peace, and so they may live fully in the happiness that is theirs. The midday meal beneath the green trellis unfolded in a strangely peaceful atmosphere. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, scattering shimmering patterns across the table. The simple spread, just a bowl of vegetable soup, a plate of savory braised pork, and a bit of rustic pickles, was infused with warmth. Three people sat gathered around the humble bamboo table, the soft breeze weaving through the trellis mingling with gentle laughter, dissolving every distance between them. That day, James's father was different. He was open, cheerful, speaking of future plans and giving careful advice to his son about work, his eyes always lit with quiet concern. In the middle of their conversation, James suddenly asked, "Was it you who built the trellis for the lamp, bought the new water tank, and even left money for Diep?" His father hesitated for a moment, then smiled and nodded. His voice was deep, tender. "Yes, it was me. Just small things, nothing of importance. But it was the only way I knew, to show my feelings and to offer the sincerest apology." The money I gave Diep isn't much, but please, keep it, for what you may need." At that moment, Diep's gaze lowered, her lips trembling softly as an indescribable warmth welled up within her. Those simple gifts, she realized, carried the affection he could not put into words. James, too, was momentarily stunned by his father's admission. Then the corners of his lips curved into a faint smile, his eyes shining with joy mixed with emotion. From the depth of his gaze, one could see the relief, as if an invisible weight long pressing on his heart had finally been lifted. He watched his father in silence, a quiet pride rising within him. The man who had once been stern and unyielding had now lowered his pride to apologize, to express love through the simplest acts. James knew not everyone had the courage to change in such a way. When his eyes turned toward Diep, they softened even more. Beneath the sunlight streaming through the trellis, James's smile grew radiant, carrying both gratitude toward his father and a silent message to Diep. At last, we have his blessing. After the meal, James's father rose, gently brushing the hem of his vest, his face softer than ever. He looked at James, then turned to Diep, his gaze slow yet filled with affection. "I must go now. The two of you live happily. That is my greatest wish." The simple words carried all the acceptance and compassion the young couple had long awaited. Smiling, he stepped through the bamboo gate, his figure gradually fading into the slanting rays of the afternoon sun. The rustling wind through the trees seemed to carry his blessing after him. The small courtyard returned to its calm, leaving only James and Diep beneath the bamboo eaves. The day's last light slanted through the leaves, casting a gentle golden hue over them both. James clasped Diep's hand, his eyes brimming with joy and emotion, as if to say that every storm had finally passed. Diep lifted her gaze to him, tears shimmering, yet a smile blooming on her lips. They sat in silence, no words needed, allowing the peaceful moment to embrace them fully. Beneath the canopy of green vines, the chirping of evening birds rang out, like a song heralding a new beginning for a love now truly acknowledged.